Chase Elliott wins his 7th straight Most Popular Driver award, but we all know who the actual most popular driver is. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric. Welcome to Out of the Groove. Happy Monday. Lots to get to today. Most popular driver, Martin Truex Jr. says he's still running the Daytona 500, but not with the team we all thought. We've got more personnel moves throughout the Cup Series garage, but I want to begin with the latest from the 2311 Front Row versus NASCAR lawsuit. As many of us expected, 2311 and Front Row have refiled for preliminary injunction in district court. The official document reads, plaintiffs intend to file a motion for preliminary injunction in the district court with additional evidence of changed circumstances. Some of those changed circumstances likely include the fact that 2311 recently announced a third full-time entry, Riely joining the team. Also, NASCAR recently removed the "you can't sue us" clause from their open team agreement. Changed circumstances calls for new evidence, as the statement suggests. This is likely headed towards another hearing. We'll keep you up to speed on all the latest lawsuit updates. Moving on, more personnel moves. That has been the storyline this offseason. Most drivers have found their homes for 2025. Most, not all, but crew chiefs, technical directors, competition directors, teams continue to shake up the leadership structure day in, day out. Spire Motorsports is the latest. Matt McCall, the former RFK Racing crew chief, will now serve as Spire Motorsports' director of vehicle performance, and Dax Geringer is now the team's technical director. Dax, formerly from Stewart-Haas Racing, worked with crew chief Rodney Childers, who is also at Spire now. Rodney Childers on X this morning. He said, super excited for these guys to join us at Spire. Dax I've worked with since 2008 at MWR, and Matt I've known and raced against since we were kids. Both are amazingly talented and determined to win races. I said last week that Matt McCall would not be jobless for very long. He's proven his ability to win as a crew chief consistently, despite not having the best equipment. Won every year with Chip Ganassi, won last year with RFK Racing. Granted, he's had some maybe future Hall of Fame drivers drive for him, Kurt Busch, Brad Keselowski, but still, Matt McCall, accomplished, experienced, should be a good fit in a different role at Spire Motorsports. And bringing Dax Geringer in, Stewart-Haas Racing guy, familiar with Rodney Childers, I think that should be a natural fit as well. Spire Motorsports next year, again, going to look a little different. Justin Haley, full-time in the 7, Michael McDowell in the 71, and Carson Hocevar in the 77, looking to back up his Rookie of the Year 2024. It's way too early to make season predictions, though obviously the expectation for Spire is to be at least a little bit better in 2025 than you were in 2024. Keep chipping away at it. Maybe you get one of your cars into the playoffs next year. I think that is a reasonable goal. But it's tough because at the end of the day, someone is going to run 28th next year. Someone is going to finish 30th in points. I'm not suggesting it's going to be one of these Spire Chevys, but like we talk about Front Row Motorsports, the goal should be top 20 in points. We talk about Ryan Preece at RFK. Goal should be top 20 in points. RCR should be top 20 in points. Legacy Motor Club is trying to break into that top 20. Spire Motorsports expects to be top 20 in points. But the unfortunate reality is that obviously not all of these teams can be top 20 in points. There aren't enough spots. The math does not check out. Someone who expected to be top 20 is going to be 27th in a year and is going to be very disappointed with how 2025 played out. This midsection of the field is extremely interesting because obviously the Cup Series is top heavy. If you drive for Penske, Gibbs, Hendrick, that's 11 cars, your odds of winning races, making a run at the championship are very high. If you drive for one of those aligned teams like a 2311, maybe an RCR, at least if you're Kyle Busch, maybe RFK, Trackhouse. If you drive for one of those teams, okay, you should probably make the playoffs. You might win a race, maybe 2. You could make a deep run like Reddick did this year. But now that's 16, 17, 18 entries. Once you get outside of that top 16, it's so close. It's so competitive. Who's going to be the breakout team this year? In 2022, it was Trackhouse. 21, not competitive, missed the playoffs. 22, Ross Chastain nearly won the championship in 2023. Maybe you could argue RFK with Chris Buescher winning 3 races, both drivers getting into the second, third round of the playoffs. Maybe you could argue front row, Michael McDowell making the playoffs with that win at the Indy Road Course. Or JTG, Stenhouse had a career year, won the Daytona 500. Who was the breakout team of 2024? Let me think. Maybe 2311, honestly, with Reddick winning the regular season title, but beyond him, Hocevar, Spire winning Rookie of the Year, 21st in points. That was impressive. I guess the Wood brothers winning Daytona, but that was one race. Shoot, maybe there wasn't really one in 2024. I'm sure Spire Motorsports is hoping they can be the surprise team of 2025. I know it's too early to talk expectations, but with the caliber of drivers they have now, the personnel like Rodney Childers and Matt McCall and friends coming over, possible strengthened alliance with Hendrick Motorsports. Yeah, it's early to talk expectations, but it's safe to say Spire's expectations are as high as they've ever been. Moving on, more to get to. Martin Truex Jr. may be retired from full-time NASCAR racing, but he still plans on running the Daytona 500 next season, though not with the team we all expected. Truex told reporters at the banquet this weekend, quote, "I'm going to do the Daytona 500, and then I'm looking forward to running some Xfinity cars a bit here and there, just to have fun. I was told JGR is doing the Daytona 500 ride somehow, so we'll see." JGR, not 2311 Racing. Originally, that was the conversation. Denny Hamlin pulling some strings, going to get MTJ in a 2311 seat, but obviously a lot has happened with 2311 over the past few months, so plans seem to have changed. How would that work? Because as I understand it, unless things have changed under the new charter agreement, 4-car teams like Gibbs are not allowed to run a 5th car even part-time, even as an open entry. So Truex could not race for Gibbs. He would, I guess, have to race for, if not 2311, Legacy, another Toyota team. They only have 2 entries next year. They could add a 3rd. That's allowed. It's interesting because according to Brad Keselowski this weekend, as reported by Claire B. Lang, the new charter agreement limits teams to 3 chartered entries. Apparently teams like Gibbs and Hendrick will be grandfathered in, which that can be a whole separate conversation about whether that's fair or not. I don't think there are many other teams actively looking to add a 4th car, but I feel they should be allowed to if they want. Otherwise, it seems like an unfair Gibbs-Hendrick advantage. I digress. The report says that 3-car teams can run a 4th open car. So like 2311 could field a 4th car for Truex in select races, although 2311, as things stand, currently don't have any charters. So it's all very convoluted. Either way, Martin Truex Jr. fans, rest assured, he still sounds confident he will race the Daytona 500 next year. Will it be with Joe Gibbs? Will it be Legacy Motor Club with a Gibbs Alliance? Is some new shell team going to be formed that it's basically a Gibbs car, but they're, just running this one race? Your guess is as good as mine. But I thought that was interesting. At least wanted to touch on that here today. Finally, NASCAR isn't a popularity contest, but they do crown a most popular driver every offseason. Step aside Richard Petty, Dale Earnhardt, Jimmy Johnson. There's a new 7-time on the block. Okay, I'm just kidding. Chase Elliott has won his 7th consecutive most popular driver award as voted on by NASCAR fans. Congratulations to Chase, but he's not who I want to focus on. On the same weekend that Chase Elliott wins his 7th NASCAR Most Popular Driver award, Dale Earnhardt Jr., his predecessor, running a short track race in South Carolina on a spotty stream that most couldn't even watch, continued to dominate the headlines. In some ways, it was the perfect storm. The return of the Budweiser 8, even in late model form, tickled everyone's nostalgia bone. Adam Stern reported a while back that Jr. sold nearly $500,000 worth of merchandise just days after the original announcement. As far as the race itself, Dale Jr. put on a show, started out in the back, raced his way up to 2nd before unfortunate mechanical failures ended his night a bit early. I had given up trying to watch the stream at that point, but those who were still able to watch or were there in person noted that as soon as the 8 car went behind the wall, fans began to pour out of the grandstands, reminiscent of NASCAR races 10-15 years ago. That tweet, that race, this whole campaign was just the latest reminder that Dale Earnhardt Jr. was the last NASCAR superstar. Nobody has come close to reaching Dale Earnhardt Jr. levels of popularity in the now 7+ years since he retired. Obviously, without Dale Earnhardt's success, there is no Dale Earnhardt Jr. as we know him today. But Dale Earnhardt Jr. still deserves a ton of credit. He's not shied away from the family name. He knows the legacy, what it means to so many people. He's leaned into that, especially in recent years. And what I find remarkable about Dale Earnhardt Jr. has been his ability to not only build on an existing brand, but to sustain the Earnhardt brand, if you will, as long as he has. Think about it this way. An Earnhardt hasn't won a NASCAR Cup Series championship since 1994. And Earnhardt hasn't won any NASCAR championships since 1999, at least as a driver. Yet despite this fact, the Earnhardt name is still, I believe, the most recognizable name in American motorsports. It's kind of sad, and this is anecdotal, but when I'm at parties or family events and I'm trying to talk to people about racing, I'll mention, I once had Richard Petty on my show, and I'll get blank stares half the time. Oh, that's cool. But if I mention Dale Earnhardt Jr., everyone's eyes light up. Oh, I know him. Does he still race? The Earnhardt name is still alive and well all these years later. Dale Earnhardt deserves a ton of credit for putting the name on the map, but Dale Earnhardt Jr. deserves credit for sustaining it the way he has. No modern NASCAR driver has been able to replicate that. Chase Elliott is the closest. He is maybe the only active Cup Series driver who even has that opportunity. There are a lot of Cup Series drivers who are second, third, fourth generation racers. Austin Dillon's dad raced. I think he even got to Cup. Corey LaJoie's dad was an Xfinity Series champion. Harrison Burton's dad is on the Hall of Fame ballot. But no active driver's father compares to Bill Elliott, a Cup Series champion, Hall of Famer himself, beloved by fans for decades. NASCAR isn't like other sports. Your favorite driver will retire at some point. The Yankees will always be the Yankees. The Chiefs will always be the Chiefs. But sadly, your favorite driver will stop racing one day. That's why that family connection, second generation, third generation drivers make a huge difference. That's someone for fans to easily latch back onto. That's an advantage that Dale Earnhardt Jr. had and has absolutely made the most of, and it's an advantage that Chase Elliott has. But Chase Elliott has not been able to get to Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s level. Is that a reflection on him? Is that a reflection on the sport? Is that a reflection on fans? Is that a reflection on everything? I think it's a mix of all these factors. Chase Elliott does move the needle. I mean, in 2023, when he missed those races due to injury, ratings were down 5 to 10% pretty consistently. When Chase and Bill did that SRX race at Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway a couple years ago, those stands were overwhelmed. Another driver I'll mention, who I do think does move the needle, is the next closest thing we have to Dale Earnhardt Jr. is Kyle Larson, who finished second in most popular driver voting this year. What makes Larson attractive is one, that he's a world-class talent, incredible at what he does. Two, that he continues to race dirt tracks. He doesn't stray far from his roots. And three, Blunt Larson, he'll tell you what he thinks. What was it, a few weeks ago? He publicly challenged Max Verstappen effectively. If NASCAR could somehow, in a laboratory, combine Chase Elliott's name recognition, family legacy, his hometown roots, with Kyle Larson's I'll drive anything with an engine and four wheels mentality, Blunt Larson, only then maybe would NASCAR get their next Dale Earnhardt Jr. I know I'm kind of rambling here, but watching the race at Florence, seeing the fan response around Dale Earnhardt Jr., the red number 8, fans leaving the stands as soon as he blew up. It just reminded me that there is still no one in NASCAR quite at Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s level. And maybe there never will be. Maybe the superstar of the 2000s, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Jeff Gordon, maybe that's never going to be attainable once again. But it is an interesting discussion. I think it's interesting to try and identify what makes Dale Earnhardt Jr. so endearing, what has given the Earnhardt brand such staying power. I think it is important to identify that, especially these other young drivers who are attempting to build their own brands, establish their own legacy. What can they learn from how Dale Earnhardt Jr. has carried himself over the past 25 years? I think there's a lot. If you really sit and study it, I think there is a lot you can take away. Anyway, I know I'm just rambling. This is peak off-season NASCAR content right here. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Your reaction to seeing Dale Earnhardt Jr. race the Bud 8 once again. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. While you're down there, leave a like if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe for more NASCAR discussion all off-season long. And a big thank you to my very generous Patreon supporters as always. I will see you all again soon. Have a great rest of your Monday, folks. Thanks again for watching.